This time around, sitting on the starting line, the executioner of Wayne Schott, a 500 cubic inch aluminum Keith Black Racing Engines prepared Chevrolet, taking on the Jeep called Mudquake. John Harmon from Shower Lake, California, waiting patiently to stage up. Both machines again, supercharged Chevrolet rat motors, burning methanol, 2,500 horsepower each, trying to be controlled on street-legal type Department of Transportation approved tires no taller than 44 inches high. Here you see Harmon's low-riding Mudquake machine, the blue and white entry, and this incredible ride, the Jeep funny car of Wayne Schott. They leave the starting line Schott on an excellent run, although it looks like Schott actually lost power just before the finish line. Certainly Harmon had his problems in the blue and white machine with a lot of tire spin off the starting line, but it definitely appeared that Wayne Schott did not utilize all the power he had. Here we see Harmon on the replay. Let's see if we can spot the tire spin that slowed him down. Oh yeah, 15-foot high rooster tails of mud off all four tires before he finally gets it in the pit. The front end definitely comes up out of the mud, but very late. The elapsed time, 3.44 seconds for the Mudquake machine. In the meantime, the executioner of Wayne Schott was sailing. An excellent run that'll get him into the semifinals. Not much tire spin. Look at the front end. It never goes down in the mud. 2.42 seconds. Schott blasts through in the executioner, spinning it out at the top end to the delight of the crowd. A great ride. If you're a funny car fan, I think you'll agree. We've never seen a better-looking off-road flopper than Guy Smith's Cal City Hustler. A 1989 Corvette, a supercharged fuel-injected methanol-burning Rodec aluminum Chevrolet power plant. He'll be up against Tom Etheridge in the top dog, one of the most unusual rides at this event. The Jeep, you see, uses a supercharged fuel-injected Chevrolet, but it's a small block Chevrolet. Etheridge out of Fresno relies on only 364 cubic inches of small block Chevy in this wild wing Jeep funny car. The Cal City Hustler, a brand new ride in the other lane, has never been through the mud. A lot of teams, let alone spectators, are waiting to see what the new Corvette does against Etheridge's proven small block. The flag goes down. The Corvette out in front, getting a little sideways. The small block Chevy almost running him down. We'll have to wait to see the elapsed times on these two runs. It was that close at the finish line. A tremendous battle between two completely different approaches to pro-modified mud racing here at Anaheim. Let's watch the small block Jeep as he leaves the starting line beautifully. Very little tire spin. Look at the front wheel speed. Completely out of the mud for the entire pit. The elapsed time for Etheridge in the small block, 2.53 seconds. That is 0.03 of a second quicker than the Cal City Hustler Corvette funny car, and good enough for a semifinal berth. Looking at the Corvette from a head-on view, a strong hit at about three-quarter track. That probably slowed him to that 256 and put him out of contention by 0.03 of a second. Still an incredible new ride. Guy Smith's Cal City Hustler supercharged Corvette mud funny car. So after the first round, elder class in the mud racing category, the Unlimited California, the United States Hot Rod Association Grand Slam of Motorsports continues with championship mud racing in the unlimited category. While these machines may not be as quick or fast as the pro-modified supercharged entry, anything goes in this particular division. You'll see some of the heaviest but most visually astounding machines in all of mud racing here in the unlimited division. Case in point, the very first pair of machines up includes Larry Harrison and Terry Woodcock. Woodcock driving the Wild Thing entry. How about a 1964 Ford Galaxy for Larry Harrison and the Troublemaker? The 64 Galaxy gets to the finish line way ahead of Harrison. But elapsed time, remember, is what advances a driver to the semifinal round. The big Galaxy really churning. 55-inch tall tires. Look at this starting line launch. Over 7,000 pounds of 64 Ford with Ford wedge power underneath. And by the way, that is an original aluminum factory-produced drag racing style body from 1964. 3.31 seconds for the incredible Ford of Woodcock. In the meantime, Larry Harrison in the Troublemaker runs into a lot of problems with the left side berm. The tires grinding in to a 3.46 second time. That will send the Ford Galaxy to the semifinal round as the Wild Thing comes to a halt past the finish line. As we pointed out, the heaviest machines in mud racing. These two machines will give you a classic example of that. On the starting line, it's the Psycho Chevrolet of Tony Elkins. Elkins, always a campaigner on the West Coast with the Unlimited Chevrolet against Paul Carfusi. Carfusi at the wheel of the Goldbricker, a Ford-powered, fuel-injected wedge motor in this huge Ford F-body truck. Side by side again down to the finish line, but it looks like Carfusi runs into problems with the Goldbricker Ford digging in just before the finish line. As opposed to the pro-modified or super-modified machines, these trucks, because of their weight, will drop right down to the bottom of the mud pit almost instantly. It's sheer power that takes them through the pit, as opposed to horsepower making them skim over the top. The Psycho Chevrolet at 3.99 seconds will advance. As you can see, the Goldbricker Ford digs in almost immediately right down to the bottom of the pit, and then a slam against the berm or side of the mud pit slows the Goldbricker to 4.28 seconds. The big Chevrolet of Tony Elkins will advance to the semi-final round. How about a 1981 Chevy Camaro on 58-inch tall tires? The supercharged, fuel-injected Chevrolet called Sudden Impact of John Gallardi leaves the starting line and runs into problems in and out of the throttle. He makes it up and over the finish line. Now his opponent, Tony Loza in the Frantic Falcon, a Ford Falcon, believe it or not, did not leave the starting line anywhere near on time. He will still, however, get a shot at the clocks, as the Camaro pilot, thumbs up, is happy, obviously, with his 3.78 second ride. We're still waiting for Tony Loza in the Sudden Impact to leave the line. There he is. And the starter will give him another flag to start the General Tire machine. He's got to beat 3.99 seconds. The Ford wedge-powered 1966 Falcon Sprint goes through at 3.15 seconds. And indeed, that'll be good enough to get him into the semifinal past the Camaro. The Falcon actually doing a fair job of staying up on the mud until about three-quarter track. Again, a little shimmy over towards the berm or the side of the mud pit. But Loza brings it out at 3.15 seconds to get a semifinal round berth. It looked like the big problem for John Gallardi in the Camaro was where he was forced to get onto the throttle right there. He gets back in it, lifts the front end out of the mud, but his 378 was easy game for the classic 66 Ford Falcon. Good-looking Chevrolet covered with slime heads back for the pits. The final pair in this first round of the Unlimited category will feature the brute force truck of Steve Ruhlke, generally acknowledged as the quickest and fastest Unlimited truck on the West Coast. He'll be up against Jim Dara, a 1969 Ford Mustang. Again, some of the wildest vehicles in mud racing here in the Unlimited division. The Ford wedge-powered Mustang leaves the line first, but look at the incredible brute force truck drive around him. No question, the extended wheelbase machine got to the finish line first and certainly recorded a quicker elapsed time. Ruhlke's brute force machine, always a killer. Leaving the starting line, the Ford looked good. In fact, it really didn't sink to the bottom until well down track, but hitting that rut certainly slowed the Ford from what appeared to be a pretty decent pace. The Mustang, up out of the pit, records a 3.05 second run, and indeed, that was easy prey for Steve Ruhlke in the other lane. The brute force machine leaving probably more violent than any other Unlimited category ride. Wheels out of the pit completely across the finish line. How about a 2.72 second ride?